In the summer of 1753, what is now Forsyth County was pretty much wilderness. There were a few settlers scattered along the Stokes County line near Germantown. A few more settlers, known as the Bryan Settlement, were located across the river near what is now Farmington. There was not a minister, a doctor, or any other type of professional within 40 miles, the equivalent of 500 to 600 miles today. The only known residence in what is now Forsyth County was a cabin built by a wolf hunter named Martin Wagner and his 16-year-old son. The cabin had been recently abandoned because Wagner had heard that the land had been purchased by a religious group. In November of that year, 15 single men from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, arrived at the Wagner cabin. In their diary, they noted that we celebrated arrival love feast here in their new home. They also noted the howling of wolves in the forest. The next day, they would begin construction of a temporary village to be known as Bethabara, House of Passage. In the process, they would bring ministers, doctors, surveyors, town planners, architects, skilled craftsmen, artists, and musicians, essentially transplanting European civilization into the North Carolina backwoods. These people were known as the Unitas Fratrum, the United Brotherhood, or, from their place of origin in what is now the Czech Republic, the Moravians. For the Moravians, "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands," was more than just a Bible verse. Music was crucial to their faith and their work. They sang hymns in church, on the job, and at home. But they did not limit themselves to religious music, for they brought with them a love of secular music and an acquaintance with those who made it in Europe. The Bachs, Haydn, Mozart, Beethoven, Brahms. As soon as a new piece was written in Europe, a copy was on its way to the Moravians in the New World. The Moravian Music Foundation in Winston-Salem houses many of these early copies. And Moravian composers wrote much of the first secular classical music in America. The first was John Antes in Pennsylvania, but his contemporary, Johann Friedrich Peter in Salem, was only a step behind. Listen to Peter's Quintet No. 6 in E-flat, written in the late 18th century in Salem. During the first third of the 19th century, Salem became a prosperous village of craftsmen, noted throughout the region for their pottery, rifles, and muskets, tin items, beer, and brandy. Most in the village were quite happy with matters as they were. But a few of the younger men were watching the burgeoning Industrial Revolution to the north and dreaming. In the late 1830s, a group of locals formed the Salem Cotton Manufacturing Company. Their lack of experience led to quick failure, but one of them decided to buy the others out and proceed. His name was Francis Levin Fries. Through experimentation, he was able to get the cotton mill back on track. One of the biggest problems was the labor force. White men were unable to adapt to mill jobs, so Fries tried slaves, who also turned out to be unadaptable. Finally, he discovered the right formula: young white girls between the ages of 12 and 14. As Fries felt his way toward success, the state legislature divided Stokes County and created Forsyth County. Due to concerns with such matters as unruly behavior at court sessions and the standard use of a whipping post for criminal punishment, the pacifist Moravians declined to host the new county seat and sold land north of Salem for a new county town.